The way of a samurai. Master your mind. 1. The discipline to face yourself. The samurai believed the first and greatest battlefield was not the one outside, but the one within. They understood that before a warrior could master the sword, he had to master his mind, his impulses, fears, insecurities, and illusions. This idea may sound ancient, but it is more relevant than ever in modern American life, where people stay busy to avoid the very thing the samurai faced directly: themselves. We live in a culture overflowing with noise. Screens glow day and night. News cycles never stop. Social media pushes people to compare their lives, achievements, bodies, and identities. In all this noise, people rarely sit in silence long enough to see what is actually happening inside them. And because they avoid that inner confrontation, they never discover the strength that comes from self-awareness. The samurai trained the mind with the same intensity. They trained the body. They practiced ruthless honesty, observing emotions without excuses, studying weaknesses as carefully as a strategist studies enemy terrain. They understood that every flaw, every fear, every impulse is a potential opponent, not one to be hated, but one to be studied, disciplined, and mastered. This mindset made them formidable, not because of brute strength, but because of clarity. Clarity is a kind of power modern society desperately lacks. People today react before they think. They speak before they listen. They resist discomfort, distract themselves from doubt, and deny their own emotional patterns. The samurai did the opposite. They embrace the uncomfortable truth that growth begins the moment you stop running from your inner world and start examining it with courage. Imagine this. You're standing alone in a silent room. No phone, no notifications, no noise. At first it feels peaceful, but slowly your mind grows louder. Thoughts you usually push aside begin to rise. Questions appear. Why do I feel anxious? Why do certain things trigger me? Why do I avoid certain truths? In that moment, when you feel the urge to escape the silence, you discover the real battle. It isn't against the world. It's against the parts of yourself you have avoided meeting. This is why the discipline to face yourself is rare. It demands consistency, structure, and a particular kind of inner courage that doesn't look heroic from the outside, but transforms you from the inside. The samurai cultivated this discipline through meditation, journaling, ritual stillness, and daily reflection. They believed the mind must be cleaned and sharpened like a blade. They did not seek emptiness for the sake of calm. They sought clarity for the sake of strength. They knew that an untrained mind leads to unnecessary battles. Arguments fueled by ego, decisions fueled by fear, actions fueled by insecurity. A trained mind, however, leads to deliberate choices, grounded emotions, and unwavering presence. The deeper philosophical truth is this: mastering your mind does not mean suppressing emotions, pretending to be strong, or becoming numb. It means understanding your emotions so deeply that they no longer control you. When you understand your triggers, no one can manipulate you. When you understand your fears, the world cannot weaponize them. When you understand your ego, you stop fighting meaningless battles. When you understand your patterns, you stop repeating them. In modern America, people fight battles no sword can cut. Anxiety, loneliness, pressure, self-doubt, the weight of expectations. The discipline to face yourself gives you an inner foundation that chaos cannot shake. You stop reacting impulsively. You stop chasing validation. You stop being a slave to every emotional storm. Instead, your choices become intentional. Your presence becomes calm. Your mind stops being an enemy and becomes an ally. To begin developing the samurai discipline, you don't need dramatic rituals. Start small. Spend a few minutes a day in silence. Ask yourself one honest question. Pay attention to one emotional pattern. Admit one truth you've been avoiding. These small acts, repeated over time, forge inner strength. They sharpen your awareness. They build discipline brick by brick, until one day you realize that the parts of yourself you once feared now stand beside you as sources of clarity. The samurai understood something timeless. A person who conquers themselves becomes someone the world cannot break. 2. The art of stillness in a chaotic world. In the samurai tradition, stillness was not a luxury, it was a weapon. The world they lived in was violent, unpredictable, and constantly shifting. Yet a samurai was expected to remain centered no matter what storm surrounded him. This ability was not natural. It was trained. It was practiced. It was earned through discipline. And in today's world, where chaos arrives not through swords but through screens, notifications, stress, pressure, and constant demands, this ancient art has become more valuable than ever. Modern American life rewards speed. Productivity is glorified. Busyness is a badge of honor. People rush from one task to another without truly being present in any of them. Minds are overloaded. Attention spans fragmented. Emotions stretched thin. Yet in all this movement, people move further away from themselves. They react instead of respond. They consume instead of contemplate. They drift through life without a stable center because they have never learned the power of stillness. To the samurai, stillness was not the absence of movement. It was the presence of clarity. It was a sharpening of awareness, the calming of emotional turbulence, the ability to see the world as it truly is rather than how fear or desires distort it. They practiced a state called mushin, no mind. But mushin didn't mean emptiness. It meant freedom from mental clutter. It meant having a mind that flows effortlessly, unhindered by anxiety, ego, overthinking, or hesitation. A mind capable of seeing reality with precision. This kind of stillness is not about sitting quietly. It is about strengthening the inner space from which your decisions, reactions, and intentions arise. It is the opposite of numbness. It is the opposite of passivity. It is an alert calmness, a silence filled with awareness. You aren't shutting the world out. You're learning not to be shaken by it. In today's chaotic world, this ability is almost supernatural. When everyone else is overwhelmed, you're composed. When others react emotionally, you respond with clarity. When people panic, you remain steady. The steadiness isn't talent. It is trained stillness. It is mental sovereignty. To understand this, consider how much noise people carry inside. The noise of self-doubt, the noise of expectations, the noise of negativity absorbed from others, the noise of past hurts, future worries, and imagined problems. This inner noise distorts perception. It makes people misinterpret situations, take things personally, react impulsively, and fall into cycles of stress. The samurai sought to eliminate this inner noise, so their perception became sharp, clean, and undistorted. In a practical sense, stillness is the ability to pause. Just a pause. One breath between stimulus and response. That single breath can prevent misunderstandings, avoid unnecessary conflict, redirect destructive emotions, and create space for wiser choices. It sounds simple, but it is the foundation of mastery. Stillness also allows you to hear the one voice drowned out by the modern world, your own. When your mind becomes quiet, intuition rises. You begin to feel what is truly right for you, not what others expect. You gain the confidence to walk your own path, make deliberate choices, and move in alignment with your principles. This is why stillness is not passive, it is power. But here's the philosophical core. Stillness is not something you find. Stillness is something you build. You build it through small, consistent practices. A few minutes of conscious breathing, a walk taken without your phone, a moment of silence before responding, a deliberate pause when emotions spike, observing thoughts without attaching to them. Each simple act creates space inside you. Each moment strengthens the mind. Each pause teaches you that nothing outside you can control you unless you let it inside. Over time, this inner stillness becomes a shield. Not a hard shield of resistance, but a soft shield of clarity. One that lets the noise of the world pass through without disturbing your core. You become less affected by stress, setbacks, criticism, or chaos. You act instead of react. You see instead of assume. You move with intention instead of impulse. This is the way of the samurai. To cultivate an inner quiet so profound that even in the midst of chaos, your mind remains steady and your spirit remains unshaken. In a world that never stops moving, the one who masters stillness becomes the one who truly leads their life. 3. Live with unshakable purpose. For the samurai, purpose was more than motivation. It was identity. It was the center of their existence, the compass guiding their decisions, and the force that shaped their character. A samurai did not live to chase approval, accumulate achievements, or seek comfort. He lived to honor a code, to uphold a standard, and to walk a path aligned with something greater than his momentary emotions. And in today's world, where people often feel lost, overwhelmed, or disconnected, this idea of unshakable purpose is not just inspiring, it is essential. Modern American life offers endless choices, but very little direction. People are encouraged to find themselves, but rarely taught how. They are told to follow their dreams, but most don't know which dreams are truly theirs and which ones were placed on their shoulders by society, family, or fear. Without purpose, life becomes reactive, a series of responses to pressure, expectation, or impulse. You drift. You get pulled into things that don't matter. You cling to distractions because you lack direction. You chase validation because you lack inner grounding. The samurai had clarity because they anchored their lives in purpose. This purpose was not about career, status, or success. It was about becoming a certain kind of person, disciplined, honorable, present, steady, and unwavering. Purpose gave him a reason to rise each morning with intention. It gave him the strength to endure hardship, the courage to make difficult choices, and the wisdom to ignore anything that didn't align with their path. Purpose is not found in comfort. It is found in responsibility. It comes from deciding who you want to be, what values you will stand for, and what kind of life aligns with your truth. This decision is powerful because it simplifies everything. When you know your purpose, distractions lose their appeal. Opinions lose their weight. Fear loses its authority. You stop being swayed by the noise of the world because you have something deeper guiding you from within. A purpose does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. It does not require grand gestures or public recognition. It could be the desire to build a life of integrity, to grow in wisdom, to protect your family, to cultivate inner strength, to pursue mastery in your craft. Purpose becomes the anchor that holds you steady while the rest of the world drifts without direction. And here is the deeper truth. Purpose is not something you wait for. It is something you commit to. You choose it. You shape it through action. You reinforce it through discipline. You protect it through boundaries. And eventually, it becomes a silent force that guides your life. Many people today feel anxious or empty because they are living without a center. They wake up without clarity, go to work without meaning, scroll without intention, and seek fulfillment in places that cannot provide it. But when you live with purpose, even small actions become meaningful. The way you speak, the way you listen, the way you handle conflict, the way you treat yourself. Everything gains direction. Purpose turns ordinary days into intentional ones. The samurai lived with a powerful awareness. Life is fragile, unpredictable, and brief. Because of that, every moment mattered. Every choice counted. Every action reflected their inner code. They carried themselves with dignity not because others were watching, but because they were watching. This level of personal accountability is rare today, but it is transformative. When you hold yourself to your own standard, not society's, your actions begin to align with your values. You become consistent. You become grounded. You become strong from the inside out. Living with unshakable purpose does not mean you won't struggle. It means you won't be lost. It does not mean you won't face challenges. It means you won't be controlled by them. With purpose, you walk through life with direction. You rise from setbacks faster. You choose your battles wisely. You stop wasting time on things that weaken you. And most importantly, you become someone your past self will respect and your future self will thank. This is the way of the samurai. Live with intention. Stand for something real. And anchor your life in a purpose so deep that no chaos, no criticism, no fear, and no external storm can shake who you are. If this message spoke to something deep within you, if it reminded you of the strength you carry, the clarity you seek, and the purpose you're meant to live, then make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. This community is for those who want to grow, who want to think deeper, who want to live with the power and presence of a modern samurai. Stay with us. There's more wisdom ahead, and your journey is just beginning.